to the School of Hard Knocks podcast. Your host, Mark W. Knox, coming at you another week with another episode. Thank you to everyone who enjoyed and listened to the School of Hard Knocks summer series. That was the past 3 episodes. So that would have been 95, 94, excuse me, and 93. This week, though, episode 96, I mean, I really don't have a whole lot. I'll be honest with you. I just want to catch up, right? I don't want to take up too much of your time. We still are in a summer mode, a summer grind. There's vacations happening and things happening. But what I have noticed, though, is there are a lot of people that are putting things in motion to be ready to be launched, I would say, in the next 2 months, right? And that's odd, to be honest with you, because typically summertime is when people take breaks, right? So I would like to think that the School of Hard Knocks podcast might have something to do with the fact that a lot of you are starting things and thinking up things, for the fall and for fall launches and fall debuts. So that is awesome. But just literally, like I said, episode 96, what this means, man, is that we are 4 episodes away from the big 100, right? 4 episodes away from 100. Now, I could not imagine when we started on this podcast journey back in September of 2019. I could not imagine that we would reach 100 episodes. I can't necessarily say, I didn't think we would get there, but I couldn't see that far. Like, a lot of times when you start something, you can only really see either the period that you're in or maybe just a little bit into the future, right? But if you would have asked me, during episodes, let's say 1 through 5, what I thought 100 would look like, I'll be completely honest with you, I wouldn't have had an answer. I mean, the reality of the School of Hard Knocks and the School of Hard Knocks podcast is I never really understood what this thing could become or what I really wanted it to be. I mean, the story of how we started and the conversations I had with my wife really to make this thing happen, but I really didn't understand, what I wanted it to be. I knew I wanted it to be something. I wanted it to be an outlet. I wanted it to be, the legacy that I leave for my children and those coming up behind me as far as these business principles and these words to live by, right? But I didn't understand what I wanted it to be in terms of the business. The coaching piece has taken off, right? I mean, man, just blessed in that area to be able to speak into individuals' lives and really walk alongside people as they're in their journey, right? To turn their thoughts and ideas into reasonable, rational, profitable action. That piece of it, the groups, which we'll talk about in a moment, that I have an opportunity to do, the DISC assessment. It's just, honestly, I really didn't know, what I wanted this thing to be. And it took on a life of its own. And the reason that I love the School of Hard Knocks and I love what I'm able to do here is that it can be whatever it needs to be for whoever it needs to be whenever it needs to be, right? We never set out to make this a full-time gig for me, to be honest. Like, I never was like, yo, I want to do this full-time. Like, I never thought about that, right? It started off as an outlet for me to really get my thoughts and ideas out to the world, right? So now it's put me in a position to where I have actual income from the School of Hard Knocks and it's supporting itself and beyond, right? So it's an absolute blessing. And I thank each and every one of you guys, all of the listeners, the people who have been here, whether you've been here from episode 1 or episode 95, right? If you're a new listener, thank you. If you're a veteran listener, thank you. If you're one of my coaching clients, thank you, right? If you're one of my small groups, member of my small groups, thank you very much. It's a blessing, right? So what I want to do, right, for episode 100, not even sure what that is going to look like yet, to be honest with you. I mean, do you celebrate episode 100? Of course you do. But knowing that it's not the end or not even close to the end, you keep rolling, you keep striving, right? Because the reality was we weren't striving for 100 episodes. We're just striving for consistency. And the moment that you claim yourself to be consistent is the moment that you miss something and you become inconsistent all of a sudden. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself in that regard. I just want to keep rolling. That's it. I want to keep rolling. I want to keep building. I want to keep progressing in my skill and my technique. I want to keep progressing in the services that I'm able to offer to individuals, right? But ultimately, I just want to keep going, right? So that's what we're here to do at the School of Hard Knocks. Episode 100 is coming up. Maybe we'll do something. Maybe we'll do some giveaways. Maybe we'll, have some special guests on. But the reality is, we got so far to go. We got so far to go, man. When you sit back and just kind of look at the overall picture of whether it's African Americans, or more specifically African American women, which tends to be, our target audience, tends to be our demographic. The ambition is at a level 10 right now, right? The ambition is crazy through the roof. Everybody wants to do something. And I encourage, man, I encourage you guys. I mean, really start that side hustle, start that side business, whatever. Like, keep your job. You know me, I'm not gonna ever preach, quit your job culture, right? I'm not about that. But the reality is, I want everybody to be able to do what they want to do. And I want everybody to be able to have the freedoms that they feel like they need to enjoy. And a lot of that comes from, that side business. We're all about streams of income at the School of Hard Knocks, right? So I preach 4 streams. I feel like you should have at least 4 streams of income, right? Four streams. So whether you have a full-time job, a side business, a rental property, a business over here, or you got whatever it is, 4 streams. And that's between you and your significant other, right? So if you're married, you got the benefit of sharing 4 streams, 2 and 2, 3 and 1, 4 and 0, whatever you want it to be. But I feel like you really should have 4 streams, because that's where freedom comes in. That's where accessibility comes in. That's where really understanding what you're capable of comes in, right? When you're not tied down to one stream, you stop making decisions out of desperation. And that's ultimately what we want to get you to, right? We want to get you out of the culture and the spirit of lack, and thinking about lack and thinking about desperation and making decisions based on desperation, and really take you into a place of abundance, so that you can make decisions based on the actual thing at hand, and not something on the back burner that's causing you stress and pain. Now, I get it. Everybody's got bills. Everybody's got obligations. Those things will have to get taken care of. They have to get taken care of in a certain amount of time frame. We get it. However, the decisions and the things that I want you guys to focus on, that I've constantly told you to focus on, are really those mid to long term, whether it's an investment strategy, small business strategy, side hustle strategy, not to necessarily put a ton of money in your pocket right now, but to really give you that sustainability, and to really offer you an avenue, again, for freedom and accessibility going forward, not only for you, but for generations to come, right? The Bible tells us that we need to leave an inheritance for our children's children. And I wholeheartedly believe that. My children's children, that's my grandchildren, right? It doesn't have to stop there, though. We can keep going. You know what I mean? We can go to great grandchildren. Like, to be honest, a lot of the generations that came before me, my generation included, we've had to start from scratch every generation, or we've got a small leg up, right? And we want to make sure that the next generation, right, is set up to take care of the generation after that, right? So simple things can be done in order to achieve that. For example, Cecilia and I just finished finalizing setting up custodial investment accounts for our 3 children. I mean, something that I never even knew really existed was an investment account for a child. Like, I didn't know that was a thing, right? But literally scrolling through social media, you come across different influencers, you come across different people that have experience in the financial world, and that's one of the things that come up. So, 529 plan, most people have heard of 529 plan for higher education and college expenses, things like that. We decided right now that we wanted to go with the custodial investment plan, right? Because it just gives us a little more freedom and flexibility on not only how we invest, where we invest, but in the long term, who knows what the economy is going to look like in 18 years when my twins graduate from high school, right? You would assume college is still going to be a thing, but there may be some other opportunities where, they may need capital to invest or buy rental property, buy real estate, whatever. that the tax implications from a custodial plan will serve them better than a 529 at that juncture, right? So we just want to make sure we're setting them up for success, right? So again, we want to position ourselves to take care of not only the next generation, not only the children, that we see and the grandchildren that we pray will be able to meet, but even those individuals that's going to come after them, right? So again, that's what it's all about. That's what we've been about. That's what we're going to be about, and we just want to keep going, right? So, like I said, I want to give you a quick update. What have I been doing this summer? Wow. So, shout out to my nephew, Starch Jr., graduating from Mason High School. His wish upon graduation was to have the whole family go down to Florida. Was to have the whole family go to Orlando. So we rented a house, and we had a blast. It was about 25 of us all together, 24, 25 of us. And we had an awesome, amazing time. Did the Disney thing, right? Spent a bunch of time, just with each other. We had a great time. Enough said. And my nephew's a phenomenal guy, phenomenal student, graduating, with honors from Mason High School. And that was his wish. So he's off to West Virginia University. So shout out to the Mountaineers. That's what we did in June. Right. So we went from June to beginning of July. Oh man, just a lot going on. We went camping for 4th of July weekend with the kids. Took the RV over to Winton Woods, which is a local county park here in Cincinnati. Right. For those of you that are familiar, it's one of the better RV parks in this part of the state, Southwest Ohio. So we went over there, had a great time camping with the kids, figured out a new rhythm, right, to just make sure everything is smooth with that. I actually went horseback riding a couple weeks ago, right? So listen, I'm not gonna lie, I have a problem with living things, people included, that are larger than me. Right now, I'm a big guy. Like, I consider myself to be husky, right? I'm 6 foot 200 and some change, some up in the midsection of 200. And when things are larger than me, I have a hard time grasping with just the whole interaction. So my wife has a client, young lady, awesome young lady, who is into the whole equestrian lifestyle. She is an assistant stable manager at one of the premier stables in the city. She is in charge of about 35 horses, if you can imagine that, about 35 horses, all with private owners. Some owners own multiple horses, so on and so forth. Affluent individuals who value that type of investment. And she's young, and she said, hey, why don't you and your husband come out and I'll do a lesson, see how you guys like it. So of course, I'm not going to back down. Right, I'm not gonna be like, no, I'm scared. When the reality is, I really, really kind of was. But she invited us out. We went, and she put me in front of a 2,000-pound horse. That was, if you know anything about horses, they measure the height of the horse. It's called a hand. This horse was 17 hands tall, which put the back of the horse, the top of the back of the horse, where the saddle would go, right at my forehead. So it put it at about 5'10". So 5 feet 10 inches off the ground was where this horse's back was. Of course, when the horse, the head is up, this thing is 7 feet tall. So it was huge. And she put me in front of this thing, and she's like, hey, this is the gentle giant of the group. So this is going to be your horse. Teach you how to brush them, teach you how to, loosen up the dirt off of them, feed them some carrots. We walked him around the stables. It was legit. Like, it put me in a mindset back in like childhood, when you're literally experiencing something new. As adults, we don't get the opportunity to experience new things very often, because just by generalities, the longer you've been on this earth, the more things you experience. So therefore, new experiences don't come around as often, right? So this was a new experience for me, completely foreign, never been on a horse, really never been around a horse before. And I had to kind of face the fear of this thing that's larger than me that I don't know. And the whole time I'm thinking, I just hope he doesn't kick me. Like, she's like, yeah, you can walk behind him. It's not going to kick you. And then she taught me how to lift up his hoof and scrape the crud from between his hoof. Like, it was crazy, right? So this horse let me do all of these things, super chill. Got to ride the horse around in the arena. Then we walked the horses out to one of the paddocks out there. Got the gallop on. All of that good stuff. It was absolutely amazing. My wife and I had a blast. But that was a new thing for me, right? So if you go to my wife's Instagram, I think it's I am the real Cecilia or something. I don't know. Just go to my Instagram and then you'll find her Instagram because she comments on my stuff. You know how that goes. But you'll see some pictures of me on the back of this horse, and her on the back of her horse as well. So that was an amazing opportunity there. Had the opportunity to speak to 20 students from a mentoring program. You guys remember Tykia, right? She was on, I can't remember exactly what episode she was on, but she was on one of the episodes of School of Hard Knocks. And she spearheads an organization called Right Choice Consulting. And Right Choice Consulting is based on career readiness and professional development of students that have disabilities. And I tell you what, it was an amazing group. This was the third cohort of the group that I've been able to speak to. And I love speaking to groups, man. I absolutely love speaking to groups. We did this thing over Zoom, and there was, like I said, there was 20 students. They all took the flight assessment. So we went through that. We went through their strengths and their superpowers and, identified their blind spots, and we did some exercises. Absolutely amazing. Future is bright. That was very cool. Wow. Yeah, that was very cool. What else is going on? Oh, so a couple weeks ago on Facebook, I was talking to Joran Ramsey, from Texas, and Joran was talking about he said he had just ordered a Tesla model. I want to say it was a Model Y. I think he said he ordered a Model Y. Really not that important what model it is, but he ordered a Tesla, and it was going to be here in maybe 12 to 16 months or something like that. And his idea is to rent the Tesla on an app called Turo. I think he's going to use Turo, which Turo is Airbnb for cars, basically. I mean, it's the same concept. It's peer-to-peer renting. Turo takes care of the insurance. Turo takes care of roadside assistance, different things like that. They match you up with the renter. They verify status, verify license, all that good stuff. Collect deposits, collect payment. So anyway, all you have to do is maintain the vehicle. So he's like, yo, I'm already in real estate. I'm renting properties. Why don't I invest in a vehicle and hold it exclusively for rental, right? Because he also said he was about to get into short-term rentals as well. So like an Airbnb, right? So maybe he's, going to purchase properties and then rent those out on a nightly basis. So either way, I'm reading what he's saying, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, I've been thinking about doing the exact same thing in regard to my RV and putting it on a website called Outdoorsy and renting it on a nightly basis, right? I've been thinking about it probably for a year, but not until Joran said he was about to do it with cars did I say to myself, like, hey, you know what? It's time to revisit that thought. It's time to revisit that lane of again, reasonable and rational and profitable action, right? Because it's a thought and an idea, and not until you execute on it can you make profit. So I decided to execute on it. So looked at my RV, compared some rates to what was already on the website on Outdoorsy, again, outdoorsy.com. And I was like, man, I can get $105 to $115 a night for my RV. And if I rent my RV X amount of nights per year, I can basically pay all the expenses that I have on my RV for an entire year just by renting it out for X amount of nights. I think I came in like 24 to 25 nights, right? So I'm like, all right, what do I need to do? So I log on to Outdoorsy, go through all the process, upload a bunch of pictures, descriptions, add-ons, so on and so forth. And what do you know? Just yesterday, and I just got verified on Thursday. Just yesterday, I got my first booking, right? So I got my first booking for 3 nights. It's in September. And the gentleman is gonna pay $105 a night to rent my RV. Like, believe it or not. So, again, you really gotta think about all the different avenues and think about what's available to you. Because my initial thought was, hey, we've had our RV for 4 years. Let's sell it and upgrade and get a new one. And then my wife was like, why are we selling something that we can rent and make money on? And I was like, oh, like her mindset has obviously shifted, right? I guess I'm a little bit behind because that wasn't my first thought. I was thinking about getting rid of it. But she's like, no, let's keep it and rent it out. So that's exactly what we're doing. And like I said, we got our first booking. That'll take care of 2 months worth of expenses just by renting for 3 nights. So amazing opportunity there. I'm still thinking about how deep I want to go, right? Do I want to turn this into a full blown business? Do I want to buy another RV just to rent? Do I want to buy a couple of used RVs? And when I'm talking about RVs, I'm not actually talking about motorhomes, guys. I'm talking about trailers, right? So for those of you who don't know, an RV is a recreational vehicle. That's anything that has wheels that you use for recreation. Okay, so trailers, fifth wheels are RVs as well. Motorhomes obviously are RVs, but 90% of all RVs sold in the United States of America, 90% are towable RVs, meaning you hook them to the back of something big and you pull them. A lot of people call them campers or travel trailers, right? So there's a huge market for towable RVs. And there's a huge market for renting towable RVs because, for example, a towable RV to rent is only $105 a night, whereas a motorhome to rent can cost you an upwards of $300 a night, right? And it has mileage limitations and things like that. So the reality is I'm probably going to be able to rent my camper dozens upon dozens of nights a year, and it's obviously going to pay for itself, but it's probably going to finance my next camper or my next motorhome or whatever we decide to get, right? So again, I don't know how deep I want to go. I don't know how much of a business I want to make that into. Do I want to roll that into Knox Legacy Properties and call that my second rental property, right? Or do I want to, make that completely separate and call that Knox Box Rentals LLC, right? Who knows? We'll see what we do with it. But the reality is it was a thought. I executed on it. And now I'm about to make some money, flat out. So that's pretty much what we've been doing. I know, for some of you, that's probably not that exciting. Another thing, I had the chance to go to Washington, D.C. last week, which was my first official business travel since February 2020. So it's been over a year. And for those of you who know me, you know that when the world was open, I was on a plane 3 weeks a month. 3 weeks a month, I was on a plane going somewhere. Typically, it was somewhere on the East Coast: New York, Boston, Philly, Charlotte, Miami, Tampa, Atlanta, wherever. I was going all over the East Coast. But I had a chance to go to the African American Museum of History and Culture, one of the Smithsonian museums, and do some consulting and also do a demo of a projector and some other display product, and was able to close that deal. So that was exciting. That was absolutely exciting for the museum to welcome me in and show them some gear, show them what I had, and like I said, we were able to close it. So that was a cool trip. That was definitely something. That's definitely one of the ones I'm more proud of. Obviously, because it is DC, it is the Smithsonian, but not only is it one of the Smithsonians, it's my favorite African American Museum of History and Culture, right? So definitely a blessing to be able to contribute to that. So that's what I've been doing this summer, and I know it's not over. We're gearing up right now to take another family trip down to Tennessee in the camper in a couple weeks, right? So we'll be down there doing our thing, and then, no sooner than we get back, I'm gonna be sending my 5-year-old to kindergarten, which is still crazy to even think that he's going to kindergarten, but yeah, he's going to kindergarten. So I'm grappling with that whole idea of him growing up. But yeah, man, that's what I've been doing this summer. That's what I've been doing this summer. So executing, experiencing new things, taking some time for the family, and just really trying to be the best version of myself. So listen, guys, that's all I got for you this week. Next week, I hope to, bring you something a little more substantive, all right? Something a little more substantive, something a little more solid, hopefully. But I really want you to understand who I am. I want you to know and to grow with me and really understand my values, so you can really understand where I'm coming from when I say the things that I say, right? So again, this has been the School of Hard Knocks podcast. I'm your host, Mark W. Knox. Class is dismissed. And for those of you that are with me on YouTube, thank you very much. Make sure you like and subscribe to the School of Hard Knocks. Support our channel. We're growing organically, as they say. So we're not doing a whole bunch of SEO right now. Honestly, we're building a body of work, putting up videos every single week before we start to do a massive campaign on promotion, right? Because we really want to make sure that there's a destination, a backlog, and a catalog for people to visit. So definitely listen to last week's episode number 94. It's not fair. Please stop. All about casting your fears on other people. Absolutely not fair. But I really thank you guys for joining me on YouTube. Appreciate you. It's your boy, Mark W. Knox. See you next week.